Welcome back to the ethers topic. So we are studying the methods of preparation in the previous video. Now let us continue again some more methods of preparation of ethers. In this video again we will start from the alkyl halides. So these alkyl halides I am treating with dry silver oxide. This is dry silver oxide. When you treat with dry silver oxide, two molecules of alkyl halide will give rise to the corresponding ether along with the formation of two molecules of silver halide. So this is suitable only for the preparation of the simple ethers. Say for example, if you start with this ethyl bromide, then if you treat with this silver oxide, dry silver oxide, it will give rise to C2H5O C2H5. Then coming to the next method, this is actually the third one in the alkyl halides. The next method is from lower alcohols, it is not from lower alcohols, it is from alpha halo ethers to higher ethers. Say for example, if I start with this CH3O CHCl CH3. Here the chlorine atom is on the alpha carbon atom which contains actually the oxygen atom. This will be replaced by the alkyl group by using a suitable Grignard reagent. Suppose I treat this with RMgX. Then this halogen atom will be replaced by the corresponding alkyl group. So it will give rise to CH3O CH CH3R. For example, if I start from this CH3O CH2Cl, this is alpha chloro methoxychloromethane. When this is treated with methyl magnesium bromide, then the Cl atom will be replaced by the CH3 group. So it will give rise to CH3O CH2CH3 along with the formation of this MgBrCl. So these are some methods available for the preparation of the ethers. Now let us go for the properties of ethers. As usual, we will first consider the physical properties. As we know, ethers are the compounds which are actually the derivatives of these alcohols. That's why when you consider this oxygen atom linked to the two carbon atoms, there is no any hydrogen available for the hydrogen bonding. That's why they are lower ethers are gases. For example, this CH3OCH3 dimethyl ether as well as methyl ethyl ether. So these are the gases CH3O C2H5. While higher members are liquids. The second one is boiling point. This is the most important property as far as these ethers is concerned. When you consider this boiling point, automatically you have to compare with the corresponding equal molecular mass hydrocarbons as well as with alcohols. In case of the alcohols, suppose you take these ethers. Ethers are isomers of alcohols. For example, if you take this CH3OCH3, this can be written as an isomeric alcohol, that is CH3CH2OH. Molecular mass is same. But when you consider the boiling point of this ether as well as this alcohol, in case of the alcohols, there is more hydrogen bonding possible. Because oxygen contains the hydrogen atom, that's why boiling point of this ethyl alcohol is high. But in case of the ether, dimethyl ether, the boiling point is very low because there is no any hydrogen bonding at all. Similarly, if you consider the molecular mass almost same, that is, if you take this propane, CH3CH2CH3, then molecular mass of this one and molecular mass of this one are almost same, not exactly same, almost same. That's why comparing to this alkane, this dimethyl ether, they have almost similar boiling points. That's why both these substances are in the gaseous state. But similarly, similar molecular mass, but alcohol, because of the hydrogen bonding, it has got very high boiling point. That means to say, boiling point of ethers are almost same as the corresponding molecular mass hydrocarbons. But as compared to the isomeric alcohols, the boiling point is very low. And the third property is solubility. Solubility. Solubility means in water. Since low molecular mass compounds are having the almost free oxygen, just compare hydrogen, oxygen in both these alcohols, ethers as well as water. Both the oxygen atoms are in the sp3 hybrid state. That is, oxygen atom is in sp3 hybrid state. That's why both these molecules are having the bent structure. Both means water as well as ethers. They have got the bent structures. And oxygen atom of this water and oxygen atom of the ether, almost they are available if the ether contains the low molecular mass alkyl groups. That is lower ethers. So lower ethers are highly soluble. Better we use the word miscible, because both the substances are the liquids, soluble in water. But as the molecular mass increases, because of the crowding effect of the alkyl groups, this oxygen is not easily available for the hydrogen bonding. So this solubility is due to hydrogen bonding. Hydrogen bonding between water and oxygen of ether. Because of this oxygen less available for the hydrogen bonding in case of the higher ethers, so the solubility becomes lesser and lesser. For example, diethyl ether is almost insoluble in water. So the solubility can be explained by considering this hydrogen bonding, intermolecular hydrogen bonding between the water and the ether. Now let us consider the next property, that is dipole moment. Dipole moment. Dipole moment. In case of the dipole moment, as I told you in the previous topic, previous property, that is solubility, the oxygen atom of this both ether as well as water, they are in the sp3 hybrid state. So this is R and R dash. Let me say, this contains 2 lone pairs and this contains 2 lone pairs. So both they contain 2 lone pairs at all. Both of them contain 2 lone pairs. Since this hydrogen atom is positively, alkyl group is a positive inductive group, they push the electrons towards this oxygen atom. This is called as the positive inductive effect. That's why this dipole moment is acting in this direction in both the cases. But because of the repulsion between the two alkyl groups, this bond angle is almost 104 degrees 28 minutes, 104.5 degrees. But this bond angle will be around 110 degrees. That's why as the bond angle increases, this inductive effect, the dipole moment will be lesser. For example, in case of the comparison of the dipole moment of this water as well as these alkyl groups. So in case of this ethers, the dipole moment is almost 1.15 to this 1.3. These are expressed in the dBi units. dBi units. But in case of this water, the dipole moment is 1.84 dBi. Why this dipole moment is lesser? Because the alkyl groups are repulsive with one another, the bond angle increases, that's why the dipole moment decreases. But in case of this water, the bond angle is 104.5 degrees. So in case of this, as the bulkiness of the alkyl groups increases, the bond angle increases, that's why the dipole moment gradually decreases. So this is about the property called as the dipole moment. The next set of properties are chemical properties. Chemical properties. Remember, the structural formula of this alkoxyalkane is a bent one. This lone pair of electrons are available on the oxygen atom. That's why this can act as a Lewis base. Any material, any substance that can donate a pair of electrons is a Lewis base. Any substance that can accept the electron pair is a Lewis acid. That's why the first property that we consider is the Lewis basic nature or Lewis base. Any substance which is electron deficient will act as a Lewis acid. For example, when you take this R2O, react with an electron deficient material like BF3, AlCl3, etc. Then this pair of electron will be donated towards this. Similarly, we can consider this BeCl2. In case of BF3, one electron pair is required. That's why one molecule of this ether will donate the pair of electron to this form coordinate compound. And these coordinate compounds are named as the etherates. Similarly, aluminium chloride has electron deficiency of one pair. That's why one aluminium chloride will react with one ether molecule to give rise to this R2O AlCl3. This is actually coordinate bond. So this is again etherate. But in case of this one, two molecules of R2O will react with beryllium chloride to give rise to ROR, one pair, BeClCl, one more pair of ether, of electron from the oxygen atom. So these are again etherates. Because of the electron rich nature of the oxygen atom, lone pair of electron on the oxygen atom, they behave as the Lewis bases. They can donate the pair of electrons to the electron deficient materials like this BF3, AlCl3, BeCl2, etc. to form the complex compounds or coordinate compounds that are called as the etherates. The next property is with HX, hydrogen halide. With HX, the alkyl, one of the alkyl group with HX here actually we consider hydrogen iodide, mainly hydrogen iodide, or we can take this hydrogen bromide, because hydrogen chloride and hydrogen fluoride, they are not replacing the or breaking this carbon oxygen bond. That's why we take this hydrogen iodide. When we take this ROR dash plus HI, one of the carbon oxygen bond is cleaved by this hydrogen iodide to give rise to ROH and RI, R dash I. Suppose you take this CH3, CH2, OCH3. When you treat this with 1 molar amount of hydrogen iodide, it will cleave one oxygen carbon bond, that is the carbon atom containing the lesser number of alkyl group containing the lesser number of carbon atoms will form the iodide. So it will give rise to CH3CH2OH plus CH3I. If both these alkyl groups contain primary, secondary carbon atoms, then the lower alkyl group will form the corresponding alkyl halide. This reaction follows SN2 mechanism. So this reaction can be indicated with the mechanism of SN2. But if one carbon atom linked to the oxygen atom is a tertiary in nature, for example, if you take this CH3, C, CH3, CH3, OCH3. If one carbon atom is tertiary in nature, then it will undergo cleavage to give rise to the tertiary butyl iodide, CH3 thrice Ci plus CH3OH. This reaction actually follows the SN1 mechanism. That means in presence of this H plus, first this H plus will be taken up by this oxygen and it will form the tertiary butyl carbocation. Tertiary butyl carbocation is more stable. That's why it will further react with iodide ion, that is nucleophile, to give rise to tertiary butyl iodide. I will repeat this reaction. When you treat with HX, that is hydrogen iodide, if both these alkyl groups carry primary or secondary carbon atoms, then the alkyl halide that is produced is from the lower alkyl group. If this carbon atom linked to the oxygen atom is carrying at least one tertiary, then this will undergo reaction to give rise to tertiary halide along with the lower alkyl group to form the methanol. Similarly, I will write one more example. CH3, CCH3, CH3, O, CH2, CH3. This is primary, this is tertiary. That's why it will give rise to same with hydrogen iodide. It will give rise to same tertiary butyl iodide plus ethanol. Okay, that is, if one of the carbon atom carrying this or linked to the oxygen atom is tertiary in nature, then it will give rise to the tertiary alkyl halide. Similar in case of this alkoxybenzenes, always the product formed will be phenol plus methyl iodide, because this carbon oxygen bond between the phenyl group and oxygen is actually resonance hybrid. It carries a little bit double bond character. So that is difficult to cleave. That's why always the product is phenol. And the other alkyl group will be converted into corresponding alkyl halide. In this reaction, if excess of alkyl halide, hydrogen iodide is used, then both these alkyl groups are converted to corresponding alkyl iodides. For example, if I take this C2H5, O, C2H5, directly treat with excess of hydrogen iodide, then both these ethyl groups are converted to corresponding ethyl iodides along with the formation of water. Okay, that is, in the first step only one molecule reacts to give rise to alcohol and alkyl halide. In the second step, the second molecule of the alcohol will also react with the hydrogen iodide to give rise to second molecule to the alkyl halide. So these are some chemical properties with the of the ethers with behaving as a Lewis base as well as with the hydrogen halide, hydrogen iodide. The next few chemical properties we will look into in the next video. Thank you.